Good morning, family, human family, all of you. I don't discriminate. I don't believe in separation, and there's no need for it, as you will find out. Separation serves a purpose. It does. It is part of an illusion that we live amidst that has a grand purpose. And in and of itself is not evil. But just like anything that exists, in the hands of someone, it's it becomes good or evil depending on how it's used. But um, yeah, the illusions are created to let us experience an incredible thing here on this planet, in this realm of duality, which is nothing but magic, miracles, and mayhem. Divine mayhem, if you will. So today, I said I would be doing a daily oracle with my fearless deck, Fight Like a Girl, because that's the best way to fight. If you didn't know, there's a bunch of so many different angles um, that one can fight with the right side of your brain, with the feminine side. And so today, I'm going to pull one card, and it will inform us what spark must come forward. What must we? How should we? How shall our action be inspired? In what way will it be? Will we fucking you know what I'm saying? We're gonna kick some ass, and we're gonna use spirit to do it. All right, guys. Whatever card I pick, no matter what it is the right card. And the same thing goes for everything anyone chooses in their life. Mistakes don't really exist. They do, in the sense that we fall to learn how to stand, and we and then we fall some more while we're running, as we're learning how to fly. But and you can call those sins. Those are errors. Fucking, if you're trying to fly and crash into a tree, that's an error. That's a sin. But it's just missing the mark. It's not something that anyone, including in the spirit realm, is holding against you. You know, that would be so petty. I mean, there are things that the universe tallies for or against you. Karma, I think that's the term. Um, but it's not. It's it's mostly none of the stuff that you think you're guilty of as human beings. Anyways, okay, so today's card, spirit, great spirits. What would you have us? How would you have us be today, as we move forward, vanishing, doing our best to vanish the darkness that is the tide. The chimera fight. Does anyone know what a chimera is? It's a monster. Kind of like, kind of like Medusa. She was in this story. She's a monster. You know, she's like got snakes in her hair, turns everybody stone. What's the name? Was like, I gotta kill her, and you know, like they make her kind of like this huge bad guy in that one movie. But Clash of the Titans. Thank you. But in my understanding, which is more recent than when I was a kid watching those movies, uh, Medusa was dark divine feminine like myself, and uh, she's dark divine feminine goddess type, extremely powerful, sovereign, autonomous. She had her agency, and she had advanced very far, but she wasn't evil. I don't know where that. Oh, that I know where that came from. She's a woman. Yeah, yeah. All women are evil. Yeah. All right, guys. And Mary didn't marry Jesus and have a daughter named Sarah, right? They left all that shit out. Anyways, I digress. The Chimera fight. So she's not a monster. I'm so sorry for saying that. Not at all. She's a, she's beautiful. A creature made of so many different things. Chimera is uh, in most fantasy fiction books. It is a monster, but not in this deck. In this deck, what is the Chimera? What she has in common with it is that the Chimera had like 3 or 4 different animals parts like come together around her. Like she was 3 or 4 different animals in one, and that could be intimidating for anyone that saw her. But it's a metaphor. Understand, it is more of a metaphor when it's a piece of wisdom and spirits trying to give us some advice on it. So let's see. Let's look at the card for a second. I see like some sheep's horns. I think there's a snake in the back. I don't know. It's pretty wild. They don't show her full body, but she's beautiful like every other woman uh, on these in these cards. But let's see what it means. I forgot. I know what number is it? 31. Number 31. In Greek mythology, a chimera was a fire-breathing female monster with a lion's head, a goat's body, and a serpent's tail. There it is. Modern interpretation of the word encompasses anyone who is not one thing, like human and ram. Like me, like you, we are all light, shadow, queen, servant, fighter, lover, masculine, feminine. We're many things, all humans. Precious little creatures. Now is the time to practice the fine art of wild inclusion and embrace your chimeric nature. Chimeric nature. That's cool. Don't you love words? Make peace with all the parts of yourself, my friends and family. Even the ugly and unwanted parts, and maybe especially them. Make space for all the little bits of you, acceptable or not to anyone else. Give voice to the shame, the malice, the anger, and every other outlawed part of the psyche. This is the way we create integrity, inner integrity, and outer, ensuring that no part of our inner realm is involved with factions, divisions, rebellions. That, that reminds me of something. Now is the time to own your inner chimera and embrace all of you. That is so important. And It doesn't even explain, and it doesn't have to, what she the inner wisdom of this, of what it's suggesting. It's it's deep. It's deep, deep, deep in ways that I was intending to teach y'all anyways. I was gonna teach you about the shadow that each human being possesses, not the one on the ground, not the one cast by light. That's the physical shadow, but everyone has um, what Carl Jung called a shadow. He termed it a shadow, but he was referring to a part of you. He's referring to the unconscious, not the subconscious, the unconscious. Some people's unconscious is much bigger than others. Sometimes it's very small. And the reason for the difference in size is because what it contains is every part of us that was rejected by us during our formative programming, by everyone under the sun. It could have been your dog, you know, not so much, not your dog, uh, your family, your caretakers, your siblings, your immediate surroundings, the schools, the friends, like society, all the levels that of things and beings that influence you into thinking that some parts of you were they liked and other parts of you sucked, and they don't want to see those parts. Like when they reject parts of us, we can react so strongly as children, because it is life or death for us in our minds as children. We react so strongly as children that we learn immediately, and they want us to do it anyways. It makes everybody else happy that we cut off our sadness, we cut off our anger, so that they can feel comfortable, considering that they never were allowed to feel those emotions when they were kids either. So I see how, like, from one level to the next, we teach what we know, and usually what we know is corrupted by fear and illusion and a misunderstanding, not sin, not sin. And yeah, we make shitload of errors, don't we all? But he who makes the most errors learns the most, knows the most, is the wisest. So make make more errors. Honestly, don't be afraid. Be the imperfect, beautiful things that you are, because when you accept that that aspect of being human about yourselves, and release this idea of being the perfect human according to someone somewhere, you truly start. You truly open the doors, allowing yourself to be loved by yourself fully for the first time, if you've never done that. And there's no part of you, each and every one of you, there's no part of any of us which is absolutely unacceptable. That like, you're going to heaven, but you're all that angry side of you, that rage side. Hmm. If you keep acting like that you're going to hell, or that part's going to hell. It doesn't work like that. It's not like that. All emotions serve purpose as well. They're beautiful in the sense that they have a reason to exist, a beautiful one. One example: anger gets a bad rap. I wasn't able to see. My mother wasn't comfortable. She was comfortable expressing anger. She was good with that. She just wasn't comfortable with us, her kids, being angry with her. Like, I guess she got enough of that from my grandfather, her dad. That you know she was gonna create that same kind of thing. Where, hey, the parents get mad at the kids don't get mad at the parents. That's not all right. So, but it's a fallacy. But yeah, no, we weren't allowed to be angry at her. I guess we could be angry at each other. She's fine with that. But another weird one was sadness. She wasn't comfortable with us being sad sometimes, just that whole thing. I'll give you something. I would be crying, and she'd be like, I'll give you something to cry about. And, just bullying. She just bullied a bunch of, like, there's three of us. My sister was a year older, and my brother 4 years younger. And not only did she bully all of us into acting and behaving and literally walking on eggshells our whole lives, uh, or at least for a long time after that. She used all kinds of different tactics to control us and to achieve the desired results she had in her mind, which unfortunately her mind was pretty messed up from my grandfather, he was an overt narcissist, which meant that the outward bully type, who was like real inflated. He had to he had to dominate people and win at things and put other people down, criticize in order to inflate his sense of self because he felt so truly, so deeply at his core from what had happened to him. He felt so deeply insecure about his value and who he really was at his core, and that's where it all came from. All of his his corruption, his inner corruption in that regard. He was abandoned as a child, real early on, like many have been, and even later, his father came back into his life after he was becoming the valedictorian of his high school in Oklahoma, and he was turning out to be a brilliant person and someone extremely special. I miss, I miss him. He's passed, but so his father came back tried to get back into his life, when he saw that his son wasn't trash. And just like most of us when we're young and naive, we hope for the best, but we're naive about people and how they don't change. Oftentimes, uh, when you know their character and you know how they feel about everyone and how they treat everyone, it's harder to be lied to by them. It's harder for them to say, "Oh, you know how to pretend that they're ready to be a good father or mother or whatever." Um, but yeah, he came. His Victor Rodriguez, my grandfather, he let him back into his life and gave him that chance. He was forgiving to his regret, because he ended up taking advantage of him in some terribly fucked up way. Um, I'm not sure if it was like literally got like a kidney from him and then bailed again. It could have been that bad. I think I remember hearing the story and just feeling like that fucked up about it, as if it was at that level. But no. So his wounds, those wounds in his psyche and his emotional body, the sins of the father and the mother get passed straight to the children. The pain is transferred. The wounds are often directly transferred. Almost the same kind in a lot of cases, because they come from what they know, and then they're like, we repeat. We're like cells. We just split and divide, and we pass on that DNA, that genetic material, like algebra, except we also pass all of our pain and all of our many different types of wounds that we have. Unconsciously, we can't help it. We are doing our best, but well, we can't see what we can't see. So yeah, that pain gets placed right in our children. Seeds at first, but then they become full-blown trees. And that's part of my story, because I have children. But story for another time. So being a chimera, regaining our integrity, our wholeness. See, wholeness is useless out here. We can cut off your hand, your arm, And that doesn't preclude you from being whole, not at all. As a matter of fact, the wholeness that Carl Jung was referring to, when he found the unconscious part of the mind, identified it and was like, this is a huge deal, and it was, because it's the rejected parts of us. It's all the broken pieces of our souls thrown away and cast down into the underworld, cast to hell, by us. And that's us. We cast ourselves, pieces of ourselves, to dark places, and through suppressing those things that get kicked down there, they become fully repressed. That's when they really get deep in there. But it goes to another level at that point. You can't even remember them at that point. Literally a blind spot, psychologically, a blind spot for you, because of, the suppression, which turned into repression, regarding whatever that was. And finding your way back from that it's a very difficult thing unless you understand what's happened, because it alters your view of everything. And it's just like, you just don't know who you are. You don't know the full you. and that, like, there's pieces of you that need to be rescued to become whole, to become acceptable, fully acceptable to yourself. Until that is done, those rejected pieces and parts, and wonderful parts of you, sometimes they're incredibly beautiful and full of gifts that we didn't know we needed until way later, and our lives are total fucking messes. But we become we find out that those are there, and we start to rescue the pieces of our soul that we realize, from therapy or from gaining emotional intelligence, that will never be whole without all of the pieces of us. And the same goes, so within, as within, so without. What we hate about ourselves, we hate of others. What we reject in ourselves, we reject in everyone else. A lot of times, when you see it, you either love it or you hate it. A lot of times, I would see parts of me that were gone from me, but I'd see it in my cousins or someone else. But I'll use my cousins, for example. As children, there was four of them, three of us. As children, we were our sets of families, even though they were just one parent apart. Um, they were so authentic. They were so real and unapologetic for their uniqueness, and it was just so beautiful to see. And I didn't have the words to put it like that when I was younger, but it was so clear to me then that, like, there's something different about this, something very different about them. Like, why are we, I'm looking at my brother and sister, why are we so different? And some of the terms would be like wound up, anxious, like on our tiptoes, like at attention, like fucking. Our my mother was a screamer and rager, but like not sacred rage, not protective rage, more like just blame rage, for how she felt inside about, whatever it was, whatever the new calamity was that was destroying her. But it's the generational curses. The overt narcissism humiliated her so badly in her, uh, as she was a very small child. I would guess age 2 years old, probably not more than 2 years old, before she felt so humiliated, so that she put a mask on. She put her mask on, as all of us do. All of us, not just narcissists. All codependent people which are the other side of narcissists. Those are the two halves. We're all wearing masks. It just so happens that with narcissism, it's extremely ingrained, and we're not sure. We don't believe that there necessarily is a way back from such a deep such a deep place where one becomes so vengeful, so resentful, so angry and bitter from what they experience that they succumb to all that pain. They don't they don't become a better person from it all. They become worse. They become sadistic and malevolent as opposed to codependents who can be all those things. We can act any way, any bad way, and we do. But a lot of times we are it's not who we are. Our heart is still there, and we're just playing this fucked up game where like we'll match the fucked up energy in the room just to keep an even keel, just to keep the score from going too far fucking sideways. You know, as we're being abused by the people that say they love us the most. It's all good. There's a way out of all of this. I found it, and um, that's why I'm making all these videos and disseminating my brilliance and my understanding, which goes beyond this lifetime. My soul is almost 4 billion years old, according to numerology, which is incredible. There are so many things that have been branded as evil and wicked, which are anything but. And numbers aren't evil or wicked. 666 isn't evil or wicked. It's about sun worship. It was in its earliest form sun worship. Those are the numbers that correspond to that. And when we didn't, before we had religions of the way we do now, we were just spiritual cultures. We all worshipped different parts of nature, and nature had incredible things in it that were perfect metaphors for God and for things in the unseen realms and for the spirit world, but also for us too, like the tree of life. The tree of life. We have DNA in common with a tree. We're we're part tree. We have been lied to. We've been convinced that we're separate from everyone and everything, even from ourselves, which we've been, and that is where the the shadow comes in. Our shadow, the culture has been changed in such a way as to make sure that our shadow within each and every person was as large as possible by creating as much division and strife within each and every family that they could get a hold of, so that they could without suppressing all the solutions and ways that they could heal, so that it would just keep passing down all those pains and wounds and dissociations and splits of mind, the inner conflict. That's what it is. There's the conscious mind, and then there's the shadow. And when you have two things like that in your mind, they are now in conflict. The acceptable versus the unacceptable. And they will be forevermore until one takes intentional control of one's own mind. Shadow work is merely observing the things in your world which trigger you in such a way that you realize, oh, I hate that. That shadow work tells me I hate it because I rejected that part of me. So it's a perfect opportunity. The people that pisses off the most, they are our greatest teachers. They are great. our greatest gifts because they reflect back to us that which we threw away about ourselves. And it's our way back to God, to ourselves, to heaven within and heaven that we're going to create on earth moving forward. I have so much to teach you all, to share with you and give to you as gifts from God herself, who is alive, feeling, loving, breathing. Breathing isn't necessarily necessary for God, but God is conscious. God is active. God's heart breaks with just like ours. And just as I had said in a past life, out of the greatest of suffering that humans experience, the strongest souls do absolutely, they do emerge. They emerge so fucking they emerge so fucking strong. The most massive characters of all that you've ever known are those that are seared, whose hearts and bodies are seared with scars. They're seared with wounds and scars. And, well, not wound. The scar, it becomes a scar once it's healed. And that's when you become the massive character that you are within. If you didn't already know. So don't be sad that you have, 1,000 wounds in all kinds of different places and ways, stored in different body parts, the memory. We bury this stuff to continue going on, to survive functionally, you know. But we we bury it so well that, like, once we get free of the people that abused us our whole lives and made us thank them and tell them we love them for for what they did for us. And you know what? It's not so bad because they do their best and they destroy us. They destroy our 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 will to dream, our desire to do all kinds of things. Some incredible pieces of us are shattered, like I already said. But it's in the reclaiming of them all that we truly gain an appreciation for what was lost that we would never have. We would never have that depth and gratitude for what was once lost if we had never lost it in the first place. So there is great purpose for every fucked up thing that exists, including y'all's understanding of the devil. I'll save I'll save that for another video though. My loves, my soul tribe of the stars, because we're stardust. We're made of light and stardust and shit, like consciousness itself. We are all one. I'm here to remind you of your divinity, of your imperfect perfection. Uh, we're gonna laugh our way. We're gonna laugh our way out of hell this time around. But there's so much you don't know. There's so much you need to know from what I've been gathering in my soul over countless lifetimes. Uh, they haven't all been to preparing to like come here and be and to fulfill this mission as a warrior poet, a guide, and a bonfire for humanity. But there were many lives dedicated to this, uh, many incarnations dedicated to becoming, being here right now, being everything that I needed to be in order to assist all of us who are one in what is going on right now. in the world happening that is scary. It's okay to be scared. Embrace your embrace every emotion that you have and allow yourself to feel it. You may not know how to process your emotions. I was never taught. The emotional intelligence, the feminine side of what we call brain power is EQ, emotional intelligence. It is incredible. When you learn the 30, 50, 30, 40, 50 skills that I became obsessed with in my quest to to have a better life and to help my children whom I planted all the seeds that every parent plants in their own children, the seeds of self-destruction, the seeds of self-hate. When I saw that they had become full trees, these seeds, these full trees had grown within them and their minds, well, that's when my greatest fears had been realized, and the devastation that I felt within, because I knew what they were going now for sure. I knew what they were going to have to go through because of those seeds, because of those corrupted, gnarled, twisted trees. Tree. There's one tree. I knew they would suffer so fucking much, just as I had, if not worse. But if it was anything anywhere near what I had put myself through, that me and God had decided, uh, knew I was strong enough to go through, then they there's very likely that they would kill themselves or be dead uh, from just having a death wish like their daddy. My name's Adam, by the way, Adam Gregory Johnston. If you're watching this and you don't know who I am, I put up a video that's an introduction to what this is, the daily oracle cards and that divine inspiration. But there's so much more I'm sharing online, sharing what I wrote as the prophet when I was Khalil Gibran in Lebanon. He moved to America. The story is fucking amazing. But it's part of me. And anyways, the prophet is his masterpiece of a book. It's a tiny, tiny book. We're almost through it because I've been sharing it in videos, and it's basically it's so beautiful, and it's everything that we need to hear in order to reimagine all these different subjects in life that naturally we're confused about because of who's been running us. You know, because of people who needed to have control, needed to, have more than it, not even more than everyone else, like a gluttonous, an insanely sick, twisted, in like they're more psychologically fucked than anyone else because everything that they think and do and are is based on the fallacies at their core. And with narcissists, I call them turtle heads. With narcissists who are of such a low vibration that they can be possessed by demons, and a lot of times the soul the soul does go into hiding within within the house of the mind, or it just totally leaves the body. So what you're left with is a shell of a body that's breathing because it functions autonomously. Those functions just keep on going, but that's the whole point of creating more pain like that. So demons can keep, they have a food supply, a food source, which has been us for thousands of years, for way more than thousands of years, y'all. Like, we've been here before as a human species. This point that we're at in our evolution as a species, battle, we've been here 5 times before, but let's just talk about the last time. The Atlantean, the age of the Atlantean. Wonders of technology. They got ahead of themselves on one side, the technological. They were way past us as we are now. Um, but the spiritual side had not caught up. It was on its way, and since that was the case, since it was on the way, those that were here since the time of the Great Flood, the wicked souls of the Nephilim, these were the children of the fallen angels who were fucking humans and their offspring, which was not human. We called them Nephilim. They were some evil fucking giants, and the world really did turn into this fucking. They were bloodthirsty giant bastards, which was the whole reason for the flood, because it was just that fucking bad. Anyways, since they were these wicked little monsters, and their soul, like, they couldn't, when they were wiped out, their evil souls or evil spirits, their evil ethereal selves could not go to heaven, could not go to this actual real place. They were not allowed, as is, that sounds appropriate. They were trapped here on Earth, unfortunately, with us humans, the true caretakers, the true rulers, benevolent rulers and caretakers of all life here on this planet, on this treasure planet, living library, gem, diamond, precious pearl of the entire cosmos and multiverse. And we still are. The only reason we're all enslaved, humanity has been enslaved this whole time. The only reason that's the case, and you're gonna love this, is because our own power, which is all the power that is down here, um, since demons are, they don't have their own bodies, they have to use ours. They only use our power to do all this. The implication is incredible, because that means it was they were twisting our arm, but it was our power. And now that we know, the very arms that have enslaved humanity are our arms and wills and confused, corrupted ideas. It'll be so easy to realign our understanding with all that is good and sacred and beautiful in the world, and ugly and hideous and painful. Because pain isn't evil either. It's just like growing pain. You have to have pain in order to grow, and that part's okay. It's when we're like being raped in prisons and fucking fed poison by all of our governments and getting murked, in 10,000 different ways, death by 10,000 paper cuts. That's when that kind of pain is not okay, because it's deliberate, it's malevolent, it's sadistic, as they take pleasure. These parasites, demons, let's call them parasites. They take pleasure in our pain, but you might as well look at it like they feed in the ethereal realm that you can't see, where they have cords attached to the bodies they control, and from them cords extend to human beings who still have their soul within their temple. This is the temple. they're siphoning your life force so that they can exist, so they can stay alive. Without that, they wouldn't know what to do, and they would either completely fade out because they can't get our energy anymore, which is all the which is the which is the renewable resource on Earth for them, our energy connected to source. They couldn't get that. They would die or pass somewhere there, yeah. Or they they might even evolve to feed off of higher vibrations like love and all that, and authenticity and that stuff. Wouldn't that be fucking insane? I don't even know what that would look like exactly. All I know is that there's not there is nothing to fear. It's not even fear itself, because that would be redundant. And yeah, no, we got this. I am here for you. And I'm ready. And I love each and every one of you. How could I not? You're me. Different versions of me, but the same God, the same consciousness, part of the same collective consciousness that is the ocean, that is like the ocean, and we as drops, individuated drops of water that comprise an entire ocean. We are separate and yet we are one at the same time. It's an incredible paradox. It's incredible. Existence itself is insane. Like, it doesn't even make sense why anything exists. It's all a fucking miracle. So much so that it's gonna be more than all right. It's gonna be so much more than all right and good. And and you are good. And since none of y'all created yourselves, and that was you all each of you were handcrafted by the most divine brilliance ever to exist, who like holds you in adoration always, forever, as their son, as the son and daughter of God. That's the good news. When they talk about the good news, setting you free, being given to you in the times of the end, that's what it is. It's this. This is the good news. Because there's no part of what I have to say to you which is like a total bummer. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, guess what? Y'all are getting heaven, but there's a catch. All those people you used to love, there, half of y'all are going to hell, and you love some of them. You know what I mean? It's not even close to the what we were taught about how we were going to possibly burn forever, punished by a callous, petty, vicious, sadistic God. That was all a lie. And thank God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, and all of the iterations and emanations that are alongside God. The spirit realm is full of benevolent beings and creatures from all kinds of different worlds and incredible planets in this infinite multiverse we call the cosmos. This is just the beginning of a whole new world that we are the caretakers of, and we're going to do right by it as we were charged to do so long ago. But some motherfuckers got in the way, and again, there was purpose to that because when you go through hell to get to heaven, by God, You fucking enjoy heaven so much more than you ever could, friends, fam, if you had just gone straight there. If you'd skipped jail and went straight to go, like in Monopoly, you skip all the hell and go straight to like bliss. It's just it's meaningless, you know. You need That's what's beautiful. That's what's amazing. One of the miracles of this realm, duality, is that there can be contrast. We have to have, if in order to be good guys, we have to have bad guys. In order to have devastation, in order to have redemption, and this happily ever after type of thing, we have to have horror and devastation and come this close to losing it all, to destroying it all again, as we did in the Atlantean times. Thanks for reminding me. We didn't do back then what we're doing now. We succumbed to our fears, to our greatest fears before, and just like then, just like as now, just like then, everyone had nukes pointed at each other, you know, ready to, do the worst thing they could do, and they were tricked. They were tricked into destroying themselves out of you know, fear, but like the level of fear that would impel you to, you know, cause or just accept that, you know what, nuclear winter, nuclear war, nuclear winter, beginning of the end. They didn't know that they were nuking just another part of themselves, and that they've been tricked into dissociating everyone who wasn't their people, their color, their gender, their, you know, all the divisions. It's a divide and conquer strategy that's been used against us. So the the solution is just going the opposite way. Unify and exist as exist where there is nothing to fear, because we are it all, and nothing is outside of us or God or anything that we see around us. It's all part of that which is our real self, the inner self, and that is all pervasive. It is all encompassing. Not even the devil and demons and parasites exist outside of that benevolent, unconditionally loving, patient, attentive, perfectly attentive father and mother. Because he's not. If anything, you want to talk about Transformers? God would be the ultimate transformer, right? Because he's not man or woman. He's masculine and feminine energy in one. He is our mother and our father. He's the perfect mother, the perfect father, divine feminine, divine masculine. He is dark and he is light, and doesn't he doesn't pretend that he's not. You know, he accepts that about himself, just as we will learn to as well. Okay. I I hope this finds each and every one of you that needs to understand some of these things. And and trust me, there's so much more that you are important to know, because when you have all the pieces of the puzzle, then you can see the big picture. Then it makes sense. Only then. And I only I gave you some important pieces right now, but there's a lot that there's more. There's a lot more that you don't know. But I'm happily going to disseminate that and go over all kinds of really cool stuff in ancient history that was erased and rewritten. And don't worry, magic and miracles are one and the same. They are God's power. They are God's. They are all of God. Everything is. So remember, nothing to fear except for maybe falling asleep, um, falling into unconsciousness, and believing a lie about yourself, as happened in the Garden of Eden. We believed that one lie, that we offended God, and we felt shame and guilt for the first time. But it was so different from anything we'd ever experienced that it broke us in a way. It like pulled us out of the heaven we existed in within ourselves, where it wasn't even possible to be naked. We couldn't be naked before then because we had no shame. We accepted ourselves as the animal. We accepted the animal nature that we had, and animals weren't scared of us because they sensed, you know, our wholeness, as opposed to, immediately after, they're all fucking running for their lives. Oh shit. Fucking, they think they're evil. You know what that means they're gonna do to us? They think they're wicked. That means self-fulfilling prophecy. They're going to be wicked, at least for a while. And they're going to do some wicked things to all of us in the process of them forgetting and then remembering who they really are. Forgetting and remembering their innocence, their forever innocence, eternal innocence, eternal spirits, because death doesn't exist. Okay, well, more to come, and soon, hopefully. God loves and blesses each and every one of you. If you haven't talked to him in a long time or ever, that's okay. But the big guy, girl, however you want to imagine this incredible being, could be a big talking peanut with a monocle and a hat, and he's got like weird little sticks for legs and an English accent. Have some fun with it, because God gave us that imagination, that creativity, creative force for the greatest good, with harm done to none, and for all the fun we could ever hope to use it for. Okay, I'm gonna post this, but talk to you soon. Talk to you again soon. I am Galenius, the curse breaker of curse breakers.